relentless hustlers, the game changers, and the unapologetic leaders who've conquered the business world? This is Pushing the Bar, where success isn't just a destination, it's a journey. We'll get into the minds of the relentless hustlers. You're about to get the real and raw truth about the highs, lows, the good, the bad, and the ugly of the entrepreneurial battlefield. You know, the place where dreams clash with reality and success is earned, not given. Sean has been in the trenches, from a Verizon wireless salesman to building a damn tech empire worth millions. Damn! He's seen it all and lived to tell the tale. No sugar-coated fluffy crap here. Just raw, real-world advice served straight up. We're pushing the bar because success, it ain't gonna push itself. Now, here's Sean Torres.
Well, that was pretty interesting, huh, Sunny? That was that's funny. Taylor was telling me how he got that put together actually today and finished it. So the first time I saw that intro was literally 5 minutes ago before you got on. So I thought it was pretty cool. So he did a good job with that.
Yes.
So, thank you, Taylor. You did a great job. Well, look, I hope everybody, gets some joy out of this session here. I got a really, somebody that I kind of look up to and can call a close friend that I haven't known too long, about 2 years, but got to know him pretty deep on our first time meeting each other at dinner, and has just an incredible story, has built an incredible organization, and is just a great person in general. No matter all the success that he's had, just a caring, loving, genuine individual that has impacted, so many lives and has impacted my life as well. So I'm excited to have, Sunny, you don't need no intro, man. You've done some great things in your life, man. So thank you for being here today with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here, Sean, and thank you for the kind words.
You've done some pretty incredible things, and you're so humble, for what you do daily. And I just think it's important for people to hear your story. I think that story helps people understand that everyone will have challenges. Everybody will hit roadblocks, and I don't think they'll ever stop. But I think that, you telling that story, again, was super impactful for me and other people. I've heard it, a few times now. And I think, just talking to people at your conference, which I'll throw you that plug. If you're not going to the IT by Design conference, I brought my leadership team recently, and it was the most impactful conference that I've ever been to, not just for IT. I was literally telling somebody the other day, if you're into entrepreneurship, I really think you should change the name of that conference, because I think there's a lot to learn just to be an entrepreneur at that event. So thank you, Sunny, for putting that on.
Yeah, thank you. And you're right, Sean, it's all about entrepreneurship, leadership, and really moving from tech-centric mindset to more of people leadership, entrepreneurial leadership.
And I didn't know what to expect, man. So going to that conference, I was kind of like, all right, what's going to be there? Typically I'm not looking at an agenda. I really wanted to come to see you and support you guys. You and your, Cam, I love your wife. She's incredible. She's done a great impact to me as well. But, getting to that conference and really getting into some of those sessions and understanding, it was, look, even my CFO said the same thing. Frank said, Sean, this was so impactful to this leadership team, and the different sessions and the way you built it out with M&A questions and marketing and sales and operations, and just from a high level. And I think, business is business, right? Even though we run tech companies, but I think that they all have their challenges, no matter if you're, selling strawberries or, selling computers, it's all got its challenges.
Yeah, you're solving a problem. You
Yes,
are eliminating friction.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and friction will happen, right? So, Sonny, obviously, I know your story, man. You came here, um, no real plans of what to do. Why don't you tell us that story and just kind of run through, that journey? I think it's important, again, like I said, for people to hear, and kind of where that's led to. And we'll definitely get into more about what you're doing today, but I think it's incredible journey. So I would love for you to share that here.
Yeah, now I call this like a taxi to tech journey, taxi to tech life. Yeah, so I was born in India. I was 17, yeah, 17 and a half when I decided to pursue my American dream. So from my farm in a village in India where I couldn't speak English, moving here just to do blue collar job and make some dollars and send some dollars back home, and then see where things go from there. That was the like overall my understanding at that time that I'm moving to America to make some American dollars and really get a better opportunity there. And I didn't know there was something called American Dream at that time. So I landed here in Jersey City, where I'm sitting right now, where our now IT by Design office is. And so that was 93. And I pumped gas for a year. Then I'm like, hey guys, what's next? My roommates were driving New York City yellow cab, and they're like, hey, next level is you go hustle in New York City and be more street smart, and that's where you can learn more English. So I went to, I mean, I got my license. This is 94. I started driving New York City yellow cab and started learning more English, a lot more New York style English.
So coming to America, looking to make money, but didn't speak any English.
Yeah, didn't speak English. Very few words. First few words that I've learned here when I started working at a gas station was how much, and how are you, how much. Just few things that I have learned. And then in New York City, I got more exposure to just kind of really. I think New York City changed my life because picking passengers to where they're going to their like Wall Street companies, and you start then slowly getting into the conversations. It's really then you got to know where the world lives, because when I came here in village there was no electricity to see, and here like when my plane was about to land, I'm like, am I still on Earth? Because looking at New York City skyline, it was like a big shift for me. I really, really did not comprehend at that time. I didn't, I could not comprehend that there's something like this exists on Earth. It's like when you go back 500 years ago and there was some kind of war going on, and all of a sudden drones start uh, kind of coming in, and you cannot comprehend in 500 years ago that there's you can have that type of technology. So like, that was a big shift for me when I landed here. I'm like, oh man, this is like center of the universe, from my village to New York City. And long story short, for fast forward, while driving taxi, paid debt for my father in the first year of driving taxi. Then I started saving money to go to college. I really wanted to educate myself, so I will work at nighttime, 12 hours, 7 days, Monday to Sunday, no holiday, no not not taking any day off. And then daytimes going to college. I started at a Hudson County Community College learning English, and then took some computer classes. This was 96 January when I started my college journey, and then moved to NJIT for my computer engineering. Graduated in 2000. Again, throughout my college years, I drove taxi to save some money because I had to pay double the fee than a resident student because
Out of
as an
state.
international student, you have to pay cash. You have no access to loans. You have no access to financial aid. You have to make your own money to pay the fee. And I graduated debt free. And
Smart,
summer, I will
smart.
drive full time, like full time, lot more hours. But overall, hustling to put myself through college. Then I worked as a full-time system admin in New York City for about 3 years, 2000 to 2003. And 2003, just 5 days, 9 to 5 job was like a part-time job for me. And then I'm like, this is boring. What should I do with the rest of the time? And I started knocking door upstairs, downstairs in the same building where I was working to find some weekend work, part-time work, to do some computer work, migrations, like really helping people with computer stuff. And that's where I started kind of getting some clients like law firms, marketing firms, where they needed a tech guy. And that really was the birth of IT by design, me being the tech. And then, long story short, 2003 to 2007, we were just a small 5-10 people IT company in New York City. 2007, customers, Wall Street customer demanded 24/7 network operations center. So we created our own NOC in India in 2007, but with New York City standards, US standards, Wall Street standards, which did not exist at that time, with a 24/7 offshore provider. We created it. And then that was for our own customers, but a lot of my peers, they started seeing us grow, and they started borrowing my NOC capability, which was US standards based NOC capability. And then those MSPs, then, like after few, helping few friends, I'm like, there is a market demand. So we stopped selling to SMBs and started selling to MSPs, and now we have like a 600 people. We are globally positioned in India, Philippines, and US. But one thing that I want to share, which I normally share, this month we take a lot of like food to clothes to homeless shelters, and I share this with a lot of people in the homeless shelters where they need that little bit of inspiration. When I landed here in Jersey City, and my roommates took me to the Jersey side of Statue of Liberty, and they showed me Statue of Liberty that was so close. I did not have $8 ticket to buy a ferry ticket to go to Statue of Liberty to see, but I was still so grateful that out of 1 billion people in India, I made it here, and I'm seeing this wonder of the world so close. And I was so grateful. But I did not know at that time in 1993, just in a matter of years, I will be able to rent this entire island to put together a technology conference. So our Build It Live 2021, the conference that you came to, Sean, we used this was the first time we did it in Orlando. We were doing it in New Jersey, here in Jersey City. We created an evening experience by taking 400 plus MSPs where they were at our conference to have like that private island to for the conference. Like we rented it. And people are like, Sunny, I didn't know you can rent Statue of Liberty Island. I'm like, you can rent anything in the
Yeah,
US.
you, that is true. Everything's for sale.
Yeah, but that so what I share with the people is that American dream is live, but you have to pay your dues. You have to work hard. You have to pay your dues. And American dream is alive for those who are willing and committed to pay their dues. And not having that $8 in my pocket to take ferry ticket to go and see Statue of Liberty, with again, that commitment to paying your dues and hard work and everything else, of course, the universe starts helping you as well. We were in 2021, so 93 to 2021, you're looking at about 28 years. So within that 28 years, we became the name in the channel, and having that conference, a thought leadership conference at Statue of Liberty, it's possible. An American dream is still alive.
And just so everybody's aware, Sunny's conference is not a fly by night conference that isn't well put together and well thought out. And I think that's important, to discuss. And it's funny you talk about that, Sunny, because I'm a big component of grit. And I think that everybody has opportunity and we all have the same opportunity. No matter, some of us, it's easier than others, correct? Right. Some of us are set up differently in the success we have. But I think the sooner that you can get over the fact of everything's not perfect for you, and you may just have to work harder at it to get there. And I think it's interesting to see, like, most people probably would have given up on the dream that you created, because I think we live in a world today where people expect those things to happen overnight. And I laugh sometimes. I was talking to a young guy that owns an MSP in Louisiana recently. Hunter, if you're watching, I mean, you're doing something incredible, man. And Hunter was telling me he wants to be like Sean when he grows up. He's 27 years old. He's building an incredible MSP. And it's interesting. I told him, I said, Hunter, you're 27 and you're ahead of where I was at 27. So, like, just know that, you're going to be like, when I've been doing this 15 years. So, like, when he gets to 15 years, like, he's probably going to, surpass me. He's running a great business. He's got the right mindset, and he's willing to reach out and ask for help. But there's one thing that I can kind of see in him, and it's the same thing that I looked up into you, is that you have grit, and you can push through adversity, from not being able to speak English to creating a incredible business with over 600 employees, that does so much for this community, as well as what you do back home. I mean, that was one of the things that did it for me, Sonny, is I love giving back to people. I got a phone call actually yesterday from a good friend of mine, that found out that there is a student at one of the local schools that him and his mother door dashed their way from Illinois to here to get out of a stressful and bad situation in Chicago. They are here. They are living at a friend's couch. She is working full time at Chili's, and they don't have anywhere to live. So me and a group of friends, local entrepreneurs in the community, have gotten together, and we are getting her a place to live. We're going to pay for her rent for 6 months. We're going to put furniture in the place, and we're going to give this child a Christmas that he should deserve this year for Christmas, as well as some other things that my wife's putting together for some other folks here in our community. And I think that it's so good. I love that fact that you say in December you want to give back, because you're right. We forget what's normal for us, and what's what life is like. I never really I didn't grow up in in this rich household, but we had Christmas. I had a bed to lie in. I had food on the table, right? So not everybody has that opportunity. But I still think that those people still have the same opportunity you had, because coming from a village, and I've seen pictures of the village, and then coming here, and you're so right. I just went to South Africa with my dad in July, and if you want to humble yourself, you go in these villages, and they don't even have shoes. These are adults that don't have shoes, and babies that don't even have a diaper. They're just walking around with no clothes on, no bathrooms, no showers. Like, it's real poverty. So to come here and see, I could imagine coming from India and seeing New York and being like, whoa, what is this? Is this even real? Because even my first time in New York, which is about 5 years ago, I was shocked, right? Like, whoa, this is way different. I'm from a city, I'm from New Orleans. So that's awesome, man. That's good to see that, you give back, and the things you do back into not just the MSP community, but in the community you live in. And I think that more of us can do that more often.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Sean, it's our impact. Are we all going to take some from this planet and leave some? Can we leave more than what we take? Right? And yeah, so being a go-giver and creating a culture of go-givers is really important, because that is your real impact. as an entrepreneur, as a leader. Yeah, so we have created Go Givers Club in every location we have here in U.S., in Philippines, in India. We have two locations, and volunteers, they come together and they do something every quarter. And of course, in Q4, December is our, like, we double down on giving back.
No, and we should, God's blessed us with an ability, and if you're not giving back into the communities, you should start. I remember the days of when Jimmy and I had our first Anytime Fitness and the first business we owned. And I never forget, I was so proud to walk into that gym and know that we opened this with, no help and just hard work and getting it open. And we took so much pride in it. And I never forget the first week, like these high school students coming and knocking on the door and asking for donations for the volleyball team and the football team and the soccer team. And it just, we didn't even really have the money to give away. And I couldn't say no. Like these kids would walk in and I just could think like, oh, well, we have something and we can give them, $50 and help them. Why would we not do that? And it felt good, right? It felt like it was the right thing to do, even at a time when um, times were very tough for us financially. That it wasn't probably the smartest thing, but it. I look back at those days and doing that, and I look at what the universe put back in my life, paying it back, and it's just done that. So I think it's just been something that we've been extremely passionate about, to continuously give back into the community, because I look at what it did for me, you know, 16 years ago when I started my first business into today. And I know people are in tough times, but I assure you that there's someone else out there that is having a tougher time
Yeah,
right now.
yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes, I the way I think is uh, my worst day could be someone's best day.
Yes. As I like to say, we're blessed and stressed. you know. Um, so kind of going back to the pivot on the business model.
Yeah,
You started the MSP. Um, you've pivoted that business into something that's grown into something way bigger, supporting the MSP. What drove you to do that? Like what made you change your true business model? I think that's intriguing to kind of see what you did. I'd like to really understand more about like what made you change that model from building a successful MSP to now taking what you did and giving into other MSPs? Like what brought you to that?
yeah. So, when we start, so the need of the customer of small, medium-sized businesses in New York City, where their need was uptime, and their need was that, hey, I don't care if it's nighttime or weekend, I want my mission critical stuff to work. These Bloomberg stations, when they go down for like a millisecond, I lose millions. And I do not, when I my email is not working, and this is back again 2007, when my BlackBerry is not working, my email is not working, I'm losing this much money as a financial institution. And I'm like, what do I do? At that time, when we explored like, I used to go be part of peer group and go to a lot of MSP conferences, but I couldn't see any 24/7 option, or yeah, a provider, a vendor, a partner who I could partner up with and keep US standards in terms of 24/7 service. And then I'm like, people talk about your superpower, that we are all given some unique gifts. What is my unique gift? And I'm like, I go to MSP conferences, and where I sometimes my like overall it was my own insecurities to, again, English being my second language, not knowing the culture that much. And I will go to the conferences and I will just sit on the side, where, you know, like having not having conversations with people, or just kind of me being alone somewhere in the corner. And I'm like, well, there's something. Let me just look at this and uh, see this as my strength. And I'm like, that like how many people are probably well versed in two cultures? I am. And if Microsoft, Dell, all these companies, they are leveraging tech talent in India, if there is one person in the MSP world who can go there and create their own company with US standards, that's me. I understand both sides. I grew up as a professional here in New York City, but I was born there. I knew some people where I could go back and involve them as part of my vision. So I looked at that as a unique strength that I had, and leverage their unique strength to create something for my own customer. But when I created that, we did so great in terms of delivering customer experience 24/7 to our small, medium sized businesses in New York City. When my peers, in my peer group, they noticed our top line growth, our EBITDA growth, and they're like, Sunny, can I borrow your capability for my business? And as a friend, as a go giver, I'm like, sure, Keith. The first person in my peer group was Gary, and then the second person was Keith. They had MSPs. So helping them, then the third person, then the fourth. Out of 10 peers in my peer group, 8 of them started using my India capability, and that started helping their business. And that's where everyone's saying, Sunny, there is no one doing this type of 24/7 with this quality the way you are doing. And one mantra that I follow is, when like when you are selling someone something, you keep telling them, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, this is why you buy from me, or this is why you do business with me. But when people tell you you are great at something, that means you are not good at that stuff, you are great at that stuff. So when you're good at something, you tell people, I'm good at this. When you're great at something, people tell you. And when I started hearing that, what people are telling me, Sunny, your MSP is great at this. And I'm like, how can I use that great capability to help more people? That's where I shifted from SMBs to MSPs, because I could see that if my 8 peers, they really are taking this capability and growing their businesses in terms of their top line growth and their EBITDA growth. I'm like, I can help so many more MSPs. There is a need for my services. And why to just limit myself to 2 miles radius of Manhattan? I can probably go serve a lot more businesses in the US, but I will do that through MSPs. So that's where people talk about, when you're great at something, your competitors become your collaborators. So my MSP competitors in this marketplace, even in the tri-state area, they became my collaborators. And when you're great at something, there is no competition, because you're doing stuff so uniquely, and there is no competition for unique capability. And just to kind of really bigger picture, just understanding your superpower, your unique strengths, your God gifts, what is factory installed in you, and taking that to the marketplace by with your unique trademark strength or unique capability, and creating unique experience for the customer. That is what I always shoot for. And it just gave me, I think it's just, being part of the peer groups in the MSP channel, having something so unique as a capability for my customers, that MSP's customers were looking for that as well. So that just gave me a perspective that helped me shift my target market from SMBs to MSPs.
I love it, man. I think it's interesting there because, you know, over the years, my passion's been in the sales side of things, right? Obviously, running a business is hard, and you got to figure out what you love to do inside the business and do that. And my passion's been sales. I've always just been a curious individual, and I love learning about people and understanding their world and how we can help them. And that's really what got me into this whole thing that we do today, was just talking to people and asking a lot of questions. But I've had a lot of people reaching out to me recently about being a coach, and I sit in my Vistage group and have all these CEOs tell me like, man, you're the best salesperson I've ever seen in my entire life. And then like, it's funny, like I ask myself some days, like, I just feel like I'm Sean, right? I'm like, am I really that good at this? And then, just before this meeting, I had a sales rep going on a meeting, and I grabbed Carl and I was like, hey man, look, I want you to position this call, and I want you to say this, and I want you to go over with the client and understand that, do they really want to make an investment in their technology? You don't need to get on the phone and just try to sell them MSP. You need to ask them, if, like, you need to qualify them, that if they want to, are they looking to make the investment? They haven't made the investment prior. Their business is growing. Do they want to mitigate the risk? Like, ask them if they want to do this before you even present financials, because if they don't want it and they don't see value in it, there's no reason to talk about the numbers. And he came and grabbed me after the call, and I just, how did it go? And he's like, man, I was very skeptical of what you told me to say and to challenge the client and the prospect. They're not even a client at this point. And he's like, I did it and it worked. And I was like, well, because you're showing value to the fact that, like, they have to be bought in too. I like to look at scenarios, and I think that it's a two-way street, right? And things that have just come natural to me, Sunny, over the years and that. And I've struggled with, I had a guy reach out to me recently on LinkedIn and ask me to be his coach, right? And I've been talking to Kyle Christensen a lot, and I love Kyle, and he's a great coach. And am I built to be a coach? I don't know. And I have all these people tell me, man, you're so good at this. You're great at sales. You're great. You're great. You're great. And for me, I'm just like, I guess I haven't understood how to monetize that. And I guess I'm not done doing what I'm doing here, to jump into that world of coaching someone else to do it in their business. But I do enjoy that piece. Like, I love talking to other MSP owners. Even at your conference, I met so many great people, man, that I know that I could help them, and just talking to them. And like, I've even had a few reach out to me and want to pay me. And I'm like, you don't have to pay me, man. Like, I'll do a meeting with you, and I'll help you. Like, I'll give you some guidance. I mean, again, I feel like I should. Why would I not? Like, why do I need to charge for that? I would want to just help them. And I think it's just interesting to hear, the story of you pivoting the business and like looking at what it turned into. I wish I had pictures of the conference and things to show on the screen now, because I think that's important. Taylor, take that note. We probably need to start getting some pictures together for this podcast, because I think if people saw what Sunny has built and put together, the visuals behind that are just incredible. I think I even took a picture across the floor and just looking at all these people, and it was so inspiring for me, Sunny, to like see you stand up in front of all those people and tell your story and talk about even what you're doing in the future and all the different platforms you're putting together to help people's businesses operate in an efficient manner. Your wife is doing incredible things from employee development side, and your sister-in-law. I mean, the whole thing is incredible. So I think I think the moral of this is don't be singular minded in building your business. And it may pivot into a different way. When I started this company, Sunny, my plan was to go save people money on their cell phone bills and take a percentage of the savings, and like, we're not even close to that today, So I guess, thinking about that from an entrepreneurship perspective is don't be afraid to pivot. Um, Mark Cuban said on a Shark Tank one day, he said, "Don't chase the dream, chase the green." And I know that means a lot, right? Um, but I think it's pretty awesome to think about that, right? And look at what it did for you in your life and the things that it's created, even for all the people that work for you, man. I mean, talking to your employees at the conference, they all look up to you so much, man. So you've done an incredible job being that visionary and founder, and just looking at the way you care about health. And, why don't you talk about that, man? I mean, I think that's something important. Uh, Obviously, that's something that I'm pretty passionate about. And when me and you first started talking about that, I just thought it was so awesome that, how deep you got into longevity and health and what that does for the mind and the body, you know.
Yeah. So no, thank you, Sean. Look, the what I believe in is that if you don't have health, you have nothing. So health is the number one thing, because if you're healthy, that's when you can support your family. If you're healthy, that's when you can support your community. If you're healthy, that's where you can support your team. You can show up with a healthy mindset on these calls. So health being the number one thing. And if you achieve other parts of success in other parts of your life, it could be relationships, career, legacy. Uh, but if you don't have health, it's like what they teach you when you are about to take a flight, that put your mask first. Even if you have your kid sitting right next to you, your intent is to help them immediately before you helping yourself. But in that process, uh, you may stop breathing, and you're not going to be able to help that your loved one, your your child, your wife, your loved one. So put your mask first means uh, take care of yourself, and that's what I really, really put a lot of effort in when I at home and at work as well. So I do like a Friday morning 8 to 9 session called Life by Design session, and we have 4 life plans that every single team member here at IT by Design have, and we support them with those plans. One is the health plan, which is a health plan, relationships. So we call it health by design. So life by design has 4 by design plans: health by design, relationships by design, career by design, and then legacy by design. In health is physical, mental, and spiritual. There are 3 subcomponents of health plan. And then under career, under relationships, is more your family life, your friends. Like relationships are important, keeping them healthy and energy building relationships. And then having a career side, your intellectual life, your financial life, and your overall the work life. Then under legacy is more succession planning to, so just 4 plans. So I call it the Sunny's car of needs as well. That just like a car, those are the 4 wheels of my life. And if I keep them in harmony, and with 168 hours in a week means 168 psi that I need to distribute amongst these 4 tires, 4 wheels. If work-life balance is not such a thing, but at least having work-life harmony, or 4 wheels harmony, I call it. That I understand that maybe up to 50, I'm gonna probably put less time, less PSI, less 168 hours portion into legacy, but maybe 50 to 100 I will put more, as long as net distribution in my life, I take my total life hours and create that harmony with those 4 tires in terms of my health, in terms of my relationships, in terms of my career, in terms of my legacy. Then I think I can live a a great life and leave a great impact. And what we do in the Friday sessions is I bring in experts like sleep doctor, heart doctor, to mental fitness, mental wellness. Uh, was a lot of our focus from 2020, starting off COVID, when people moved from work from home. We are social people. People want that social interactions, and
Oh
when
yeah.
sitting home it doesn't happen, then it impacts your mental health. So what we have done is from yoga, the mindfulness practice, we have brought in experts every week to educate people to support their health by design plan. And yeah, so mental wellness is really, really key in these days for your family and for your team members, because there is just so much struggle out there when it comes to mental health. So I'm very passionate about health. It just shows up when, like, the most beautiful thing for me every week is people are like, Fridays are so energetic for you. Why? I'm like, I just love getting up on Friday morning. That the Life by Design session is gonna be there. I'm gonna have a guest for my team, and our culture changed with that because now people are like, people started telling me and the leaders is that what we are great at is culture. And why we are great at culture is that we look at 360 view of our team members' life, and not only the paycheck, not only the career planning or career roadmap. We support them where they need help in terms of their health, their relationships, their career, and their legacy. And really, I think with that culture, with that employee experience, then our clients feel that experience, and the employee experience, they say, will lead to customer experience. And we have witnessed that since we started doubling down on people's 360 care, the complete care, then our culture score has gone way up, and our net promoter score for customers and the customer experience have gone up. Referrals are flowing in a lot more, and because MSP village is like a village that everyone knows everyone, and if they're
Yes,
having good experience with one vendor, they go tell 10 other people.
that is
And
true.
yeah, so it's really, I
And the
think
opposite. If it goes wrong, it's not good either.
it's not good either. Then
No.
everyone knows that, yeah, I won't name a company in 2007 that kind of really, the only company that was available there at that time that you could outsource your 24/7 to. The company name started with Z, and I didn't want to put uh, that service standard on my service. But the point is, the like, if you don't do a good job, then MSP Village knows very quickly that you're not doing a good job. But one high impact item that I want to share with everyone listening is that if there are too many uh, entrepreneurial challenges that you're facing as an entrepreneur, or leadership challenges, if you have limited resources to focus on one, focus on your people. And that includes attracting right people, then onboarding them the right way, then training and developing them the right way, and then applying that complete care to retain them and give them career paths internally. That's a game changer. No matter what business we are in people business. And if we get that people component right in terms of attracting, recruiting, retaining, and raising people up, then everything else follows in terms of health. So if we get the people side of the business health right, then other components of business health, they're byproduct, the way I look at things.
No, I would agree with you, man. I think looking at the do's and the don'ts as scaling a company, when you start getting into that, 75 to 100 employees, there's a lot of things that are going on day to day for everybody. And if you don't pay attention to that and understand what's going on in the world, even at home, right? That can create a lot of other issues that will at some point impact churn, right, to your client base because they're not feeling confident, right? And people want to win and people want to feel good about what they're doing and feel success, right? We all know what that feels like to have the W, and we all know what it feels like to have the L. And I think you're so right. I think that what I learned about myself, Sonny, when I went from being overweight and out of shape to getting into some of the elite shape that you can get into as a person doing competitive bodybuilding, it taught me a lot about myself, and it also, I will tell you, I look back at those days and I got very regimented. And when I got into that regimented state, was really when the company really started pushing and scaling, um, and trying to help them get people internally as we started bringing more people in and bringing more mind shifts into employee development and really evolving them, not evolving them at work, right? Like that's important. But I think where a lot of owners and entrepreneurs fail is like they're not looking at evolving them in their home life. And when you evolve them in their home life and things get really good at home, um, and health wise and mental state and all those things, like you're so right. The other side, like they come to work energized and they're ready to take on the day. And they're just people, you're more efficient as an individual, you
Yeah.
know?
Sorry, can I interrupt there,
Yes.
Sean? So, yeah, that is so right. And like, people talk about happy wife, happy life. And so I said, I normally say happy home, happy roam.
Yeah. It is true though, like we all know, like we're all human. There's been times where we're having issues at home and that bleeds into going to work, right? Like it like we could all say, like, and I've heard people say, oh, you can't bring your home life into work life, but that's not possible. Like, and you never know what someone's going through at home, and that's why I try to preach. That's why I've always enjoyed getting to know our staff um, on a personal level. And I've had consultants and all these people tell me, oh, you can't know them on a personal level. I just disagree with that. You should care. You should want to know what's going on in their world and want to improve their lives. And that's one thing that I've kind of lived my life by. And I haven't always been the best entrepreneur, the best owner, the best boss, best husband, best friend, right? We've all not done it the right way. But I also try to make sure that the things that I am doing and I am making a positive impact in a positive way on that person at somehow. Obviously, my expectations are high. I like to push people because I see the best in everyone and what their abilities are. Um, but I also look at when you find that push and to get them there, looking at what the outcome is on the other side is incredible. I was literally telling Taylor, the guy that would set all this podcast up, and Taylor and I went through some rough stages in the company with marketing, and there were times that I wanted to give up on him, and I just didn't. Something in the back of my mind kept telling me just keep pushing, keep pushing. There was lots of difficult conversations, and to look at like the other side and where it came from, and looking at the things he's doing for the business today, like I'm so glad that I was patient and I allowed it to develop, and I put the energy and effort into him. Um, I never gave up on him. I constantly pushed him. Um, and I look at what he's doing today and it's incredible,
Yeah.
so it goes to show you that even though it is a challenge at times to get them to get a person to where they need to shine, like if you put enough energy and effort into that person, like they will shine, right? It's like children, right?
Yeah.
You got to put your energy into your children. If my daughter comes home with bad grades every week and I'm not pouring energy into her and showing her the way and coaching and guiding her repetitively, I can't expect her to come in with the report card with good grades, right? And I think employees are the same thing. And I think as adults, and I'll admit I have forgotten that at times and not poured into them and assumed expectations. as a leader, and that doesn't work. You
Yeah.
know, um,
Yeah. So when I'm looking at more like a building that workplace community, and I'm like values alignment, mindset alignment, as long as the culture alignment is there, and then vision alignment is there, then you can create something with that person. So person is willing to again pay their dues means hard work, and then there's alignment of vision, purpose, values, and mindset. Then it's just a matter of kind of really figuring that fit, that what role you can fit in based on your natural talents, and then shine there in that role. And then people end up creating a lot more value when they are well aligned in terms of their natural gifts with the other alignments that I was talking about. And Sean, I don't know if we're taking question, but there is one question that I'm seeing on the screen that Sunny, during this journey, did you ever experience that feeling people refer to as imposter syndrome?
I will tell you for me, there are days even today that I have imposter syndrome. Um, I, in my opinion, Sonny, and I don't know how you feel about it. I feel that, we're all human. We all wake up every day just like the next person. Um, and sometimes I literally have to pinch myself at the scenario and the situation that I'm in my life. And I wonder some days, like, am I cut out for this? Am I faking it till I make it? Right. I think we all have been at that place. I call it a good friend of mine owns a very successful business, calls it the steps of the ladder of success. And it's like steps, right? And then that line that goes on the backside of the stairwell, um, is you hit a ceiling and it's tough and it's hard and you got to push through and then you push through for a little while. But what's your thoughts on that, Sonny? I mean, do you kind of sometimes wake up feeling like an imposter in your own world?
Yeah, I think it's a natural feeling, and I have had that feeling coming to me in many different ways. From my during my journey when I moved here, that one of the one of the always question is, am I gonna be enough to make it here? Right? It's hard for people in general to make it in New York City. Me coming from village, is it gonna be? Am I enough to make it here? And then like in yeah, so I think during my like every decade it had a different meaning for me. But one thing that is common to address it is like which I am a lot more clear, and yeah, a lot more clarity in terms of how do I think about that when that thought comes, and that self-talk, that I'm not enough, or am I really going to be good enough for this piece. So a couple of things. One is, I think more and more, like as my life university taught me, and more clarity that there is value in really being honest, open, honest with yourself, with your own strengths, and then doing more of what you do best, knowing that unique strength that you have, and then leaving the rest to your team or people around you. So like really building team around you where you're not great at something but they are great at something, and then really seeing that and transitioning your activities, your outcomes that you're not great at, to them. And then always from like my own self-talk point of view, I think there's always the next step. Like for a person ambitious like me, there's always going to be someone next door. If I start comparing my success with someone else, then there's always going to be next step. There's always going to be next billion or million. Then I'm like, I don't need to. If a couple of millions didn't make me happy, then more millions are not going to make me happy. Really understand what do you want, what do you need, that gives you that joy and satisfaction. And when I think about this, I'm like, Sunny, just compare yours today with your past. Means, are you better human being today than your past? Like any aspect that's important to you, for you to feel good about yourself and confident, you just need to reflect back, look at your journey, that am I better today than my past? Then if you measure your success with your past, you always protect your confidence, and then stay away from that imposter syndrome type of situation where you're like, oh, I'm growing. I'm much better than my past. I'm in a much better position. We all can find gifts when we have bothers, or yeah, the rather than looking at our bothers, if we start finding our blessings, and especially where you are today in reference to your own past, that is how I measure my success, to give myself that confidence, protect my confidence, that I don't need to compare my success with anyone else. And even as a company, we don't need to measure our success as a company with others. We just have to compare our company's success with our past. Are we, you measure with the revenue or people or any aspect, your culture. Are you better today as a company than your past? That's what I think is really important to safeguard your confidence and keep building new capabilities that gives you that gives you new levels of success.
I love that. I think looking at, and I'm speaking for myself here, there's been times where you're so caught up in growth and the next step and where you're going, and that same drive is great, I believe. Um, but I think you're so right. Shannon tells me all the time, Sonny, look where we were and look where we are today. And I sat at my Christmas party recently, um, and we had all the families there and all the people, and I had so many people, that've been with the company for 7, 10 plus years, walking up to me and saying, "Man, you remember when this was like 5 people?" And I'm looking around at it, and it just, I think I had more amazement at that Christmas party than anything, at just looking around at that, like an idea that me and my college buddy came up with, and looking at all the relationships it's created internally here, and like the friendships and the watching people get married and create families and like have a household, and like really like in telecom has built a foundation for them, for not just them but like their families, and what they've done, and that to me is so incredible. And you're right, you have to appreciate that and know that, like, look where you were, and as long as you're moving in a right direction, and that, I don't think that necessarily means financially, right? I think that means mentally, like, are you wiser today than you were before? Are the people around you happier, right? And I think you're so right, and I think that's so important for people to recognize, not even as entrepreneurs, right? I think as entrepreneurs inside of organizations, strive to be better than you were yesterday. We were at the IT conference, and that guy spoke about being 1% better each day.
Yeah,
And if you just focus on being 1% better, and making small changes, small, um, things that you can do each day to create a better foundation, then like life will be good. It really
absolutely.
will be.
Yep.
An impact. Well, I know we're coming up on time here. We're hitting the hour. Sonny, again, man, thank you so much for jumping on. I can't wait to see you again. I'm hoping I see you soon. You're a joy to watch. Keep doing what you're doing. I just want you to know that I look up to you, and I'm watching what you're doing, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there watching what you're doing as well. And thank you for all that you do for our community. And again, thank you. I appreciate what you do for me as an individual. So thank you, man.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for having me here, and you're a great leader as well. During that dinner, like when I was in tears during that dinner,
And
like
just
it
so
was
everybody's aware, the first dinner that Sonny and I came to, we all cried at the table together. So
yeah, listening to your journey, your story, and oh man, that was so amazing. That was heartfelt. And yeah, no, thank you for your leadership in the channel, and you sharing this with the world also shows that you want to give back, and you want to do more for people from your heart, and all the stories that I got to learn from the first dinner, all the stories of, like special situations where someone needed help, and you kind of really helped them achieve their dream, and which you didn't have to, but you went above and beyond. So that was really that it really impacted me, that how you lead in your company. And yeah, thank you for having me here.
thank you, Sonny. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, Sonny, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah, so LinkedIn, Sunny Kaila. Another way is, yeah, you can email me, sunny.kaila@itbd.net. But I'm very active on LinkedIn, so you can always reach me on LinkedIn. IT by Design. Website is itbd.net, www.itbd.net.
And your podcast, Sonny.
Yeah, Sunny's Silver Linings,
Silver Linings, yeah,
progressive
great
podcast. So you
podcast.
can
If y'all
Google
want
it.
to listen to some great stories and some great mentorship, I encourage you to go give that a listen. And again, if you're an entrepreneur, whether if you're in the IT space or not, I highly encourage you all to check out Sonny's conference. I don't think that you would be doing yourself disjustice by going, even if you're not in the IT space. I think there's a lot to learn there, on a lot of networking with a lot of very successful entrepreneurs. So make sure y'all check that out. I'm excited to go. I will definitely be there. I believe it's in September, correct?
Yeah, September
It's,
10th in
it's actually my
Orlando.
birthday, September 11th. I'll be there. It's my birthday. So
Okay, we're gonna celebrate your birthday
we're going to
there.
celebrate my birthday together. I'll tell you that. You owe me dinner, all right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So well, thank y'all so much. Again, thank you. We look forward to our next episode. We hope you guys enjoyed this today. Thank you. And we look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.